The late afternoon sun dipped low over Willow Creek Estates, a quiet suburban community tucked outside a mid-sized American city. Neatly trimmed lawns, identical mailboxes, and freshly painted fences gave the neighborhood a polished look, exactly the kind the HOA loved to advertise. Marcus Hill slowed his black sedan as he turned onto Maple Ridge Drive, checking the address on his phone. He had just finished a double shift at the precinct and was looking forward to a short visit with his sister, who had recently moved into the area. Marcus parked along the curb and stepped out, still wearing a plain gray hoodie over his work clothes. He grabbed a small gift bag from the back seat and locked the car. The street was quiet, too quiet. Curtains twitched. Somewhere down the block, a golf cart hummed to life. Hey sir, stop right there." Marcus turned to see a white man in a navy blue security jacket rolling toward him in an HOA-branded cart. The man's hand hovered near his belt as his eyes narrowed. "Can I help you?" Marcus asked calmly. "What are you doing in this neighborhood?" the guard demanded. "This is private property, residents only." "I'm visiting my sister," Marcus replied. "She lives at 214. The guard scoffed. "Yeah, name." "Angela Brooks." The man didn't even check his tablet. Instead, his posture stiffened. "Step away from the vehicle, slowly." Marcus frowned. "Excuse me." "I said step away from the vehicle," the guard barked, his voice rising. In one swift motion, he drew a handgun and aimed it directly at Marcus's chest. Time seemed to slow. Marcus's instincts kicked in, not as a visitor but as a trained officer. He raised his hands, palms open, heart pounding but face steady. "Sir, there's no need for that," Marcus said evenly. "I'm unarmed." "Don't lie to me," the guard snapped. "People like you always have something to hide." The words hit harder than the weapon. Marcus felt the familiar mix of anger and disbelief, feelings he had known too well over his career. He swallowed them down. "Let's take a breath," Marcus said. "You can call this in, verify with the homeowner." Behind them, a few neighbors had stepped onto their porches, phones raised, whispering. One woman gasped softly. Another shook his head but said nothing. The guard's finger tightened on the trigger. "Kneel now." Marcus hesitated, calculating every possible outcome. One wrong move could end his life on this quiet street. "Sir," he said firmly, "I am cooperating, but pointing a gun at me is unnecessary and dangerous. Last warning." Just then, a front door down the block flew open. "Marcus," a woman's voice called out, panicked. "What's going on?" Angela Brooks ran toward them, her face pale with shock as she saw the gun trained on her brother. "Oh my God," she cried. "Put that down, he's my brother." The guard glanced at her, confused but still aiming the weapon. "Ma'am, step back, this man." "This man is a police captain," Angela snapped, her voice shaking with fury. "And you better lower that gun right now." The words hung in the air like thunder. The guard froze. And in that moment, the balance of power began to shift. But the damage had already been done. The HOA guard's face drained of color. His grip on the gun loosened, though it still pointed in Marcus's direction. A police captain," he stammered. "Yes," Angela said sharply, stepping in front of her brother despite Marcus's quiet attempt to stop her. "Captain Marcus Hill, Metro Police Department. Now put the weapon down before you make this even worse." For a long second, no one moved. Then the guard slowly lowered the gun, his hands beginning to shake. The neighbors' whispers grew louder, phones still recording. One man muttered, "Unbelievable," while another woman covered her mouth in shock. Marcus lowered his hands but kept his posture firm. "Sir," he said in a controlled voice, "I want your name and badge number, right now." I was just doing my job," the guard replied, trying to regain authority. "We've had break-ins, suspicious activity." "Standing on a public street is not suspicious activity," Marcus cut in. "And drawing a firearm without cause is a serious violation." The guard reached for his radio, clearly flustered. "Dispatch, this is Willow Creek Security. I need a supervisor." "Good," Marcus said, "and call the city police too. This needs to be documented." Within minutes, 2 patrol cars pulled into the street, lights flashing softly against the neat houses. Officers stepped out and immediately recognized Marcus. "Captain Hill," one of them said, stunned. "Are you okay, sir?" "I'm fine," Marcus replied, "but this situation is not." The HOA guard tried to explain, his words tumbling over each other. But the footage from multiple phones told a clearer story. The officers listened, faces hardening as they reviewed what had happened. A supervisor from the security company arrived, pale and sweating. "Captain Hill, we sincerely apologize," he said quickly. "This does not reflect our values." "Save it," Marcus said. "What reflects your values is what happened out here, in front of witnesses, with a loaded gun." Angela stood beside him, arms crossed, eyes blazing. "We moved here for safety," she said. "Instead, my brother was treated like a criminal for existing." The HOA president arrived soon after, equally shaken. Neighbors began speaking up, some embarrassed, others angry. "He didn't do anything," one elderly man said. "We all saw it." Another woman added quietly, "This isn't the first time." Those words carried weight. By the end of the evening, the guard had been relieved of duty. An internal investigation was launched, and the city police opened a formal review. The HOA issued a rushed statement promising immediate reforms, but Marcus' new statements were easy. As the crowd dispersed, Marcus finally exhaled. The adrenaline faded, replaced by a heavy exhaustion. "You didn't have to say who I was," he told Angela softly. "Yes, I did," she replied, "because if I hadn't, I don't even want to think about it." Marcus looked down the quiet street, the perfect lawns now feeling hollow. "This," he said, "is exactly why the badge doesn't protect us from being human first." The next morning, the video would go viral. News trucks would line Maple Ridge Drive, and a community that prided itself on order would be forced to confront an uncomfortable truth. Not everyone feels protected by the same rules.